Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Man's No Bull Beer Reviews. Today I have another beer from Founders Brewing Company out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. This beer is a rebrew from what was probably the second most hyped beer out of their entire I forget what it's backstage series that has been going on for I don't even know, like 6 or 7 years now, I think. CBS was definitely number one. The original batch of CBS was crazy, but this I think was probably number two. I think this was the CBS was number two. Was the second backstage beer they did. I think this was number 3 or 4. I can't remember. But this is another one that was really hyped up, and even when it came out, like the bottles were trading for a good bit, and they haven't done it since then. So it's been, I don't even know, like, shit, 5 years maybe. I mean, it's been a while. I know it's been a while, at least 5 years, since they've done this. So a lot of people were pretty excited that they did it again, and now it's available in these nice. Easy to drink by yourself, 12-ounce bottles. This bottle was like $5, I think, which is, for a big barrel-aged beer, it's a pretty good deal as long as it's not terrible. I will say they've admittedly not been too great recently with their barrel-aged series, but most of them have been because they didn't sound good from the get-go and they just tasted like they sounded. The only one that was like that had a lot of hope, that I had a lot of hope for, but it was not very good, was the Lizard of Cause. I was very disappointed with that. But I had a few here and there that I didn't think were bad, so I do have a lot of hope in this guy. I will say when this came out the last time, I only had it once, and it was on tap, and it was admittedly a place that didn't usually have the cleanest lines, and sometimes the one time they tapped CBS, or they said it was CBS, it was actually a different beer. So they really didn't know what the hell they were doing. But even given all that, I really liked it back then. So I'm hoping that it's like that, but now it's clean in this bottle. So I'm just hoping it's somewhat close to what it was back then. But actually here, so I'm sorry, I didn't even say what the beer is. So it's called Curmudgeon's Better Half. So basically, Curmudgeon is one of their beers. It has this guy that's on it, but it's a different picture of him. It's an old ale. It's a big, giant old ale, which admittedly I haven't had this base beer in probably longer than I haven't had this beer. But it's their old ale aged in maple bourbon barrels, just like CBS is. So, and it is 12.7 ABV, so it's a pretty big beer. Let's crack it open and see what we got. So as you can see, it pours a pretty nice, like, I would say darker amber to ruby red color with an off-white head. It's definitely not white. I wouldn't necessarily call it beige, though. It's slightly less than one finger, but it's not dissipating very quickly. So, I mean, given the style, an old ale, or a lot of times old ales are similar to barley wines, I would say the appearance is pretty on point. So, the aroma is really nice. It is definitely a lot of barrel. Very oaky, some vanilla, and even sometimes when something gets like to the point where it's like cake batter, to me it almost comes off as like doughy. So I'm getting some of that doughiness. There's definitely some vanilla, but there is a little bit of caramelized pineapple, like the pineapple upside down cake, and a little bit of dark fruits, and some like toffee too. It smells really nice. I'm pretty excited for this now. I will say that I am getting a good bit of barrel, but I'm not necessarily linking any of it. It smells like it's going to be sweet, but I'm not necessarily linking any of it to maple syrup. So there is that. Sorry, I can't help my smile. I instantly hate every effing person who was hating on this beer because I know half of them are like big brewery fans and they like their bullshit anniversary beers. I don't understand how anyone can hate on this beer unless you hate big beers and sweet beers to begin with, which is fine. But if most of the people I saw who said this was shit, that's not the case. They like big, boozy, sweet beers. It is big and boozy and sweet, but it's so saturated in barrel character. And I am getting a little bit of the maple syrup now, but I will say it's coming off kind of more as just a general sweetness and something in the body than really maple. But I do, if I didn't know it was maple syrup, I would just think it was probably just like a big sweet barrel-aged beer. But I think I do get it a little bit. But there is a ton of oaky vanilla. There is a good bit of toffee and dark fruits. And yeah, it is a big beer, but I would not guess it's 12.7. It hides the alcohol very well. I'm getting a burn like a little bit back here, but I mean this is almost as big as some of like the like Bottle Logic beers and stuff, and it's not. It doesn't feel like it's that heavy. Like body wise and sweetness wise, maybe, but the alcohol, not really. It's not like Black Magic, Not that it's quite to that ABV either, but it's not like Black Magic from Voodoo is one of my favorite beers of all time. But I always say that it's like barrel aged brownie batter gasoline because the flavor is absolutely amazing, but it has so much heat. And in that beer, I think it's good because it keeps you from just facing the crap out of it. Like it's just you really appreciate it and sip it. So I think it's absolutely perfect for that beer. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all, but what I'm saying is this is not even close to the alcohol level that Black Magic is. I honestly don't know. For the people who are hating on this, I don't know what the hell they wanted. Because I don't remember exactly what I thought this tasted like back then, but I imagine this was probably similar and and I admittedly had CBS this year. I had it on tap like right when it came into Charlotte, and I wasn't a big fan of it. I thought it was a little too sweet, but then like a month or two ago, someone brought one of the bottles from this last release, and to me it didn't taste nearly as sweet in the bottle. Maybe it's just because it was older, but I mean it was only 7 months maybe at that point. The coffee was way more pronounced, and I thought it was really good. I just don't understand the people who are from what I've seen in my groups, the people who are hating on this are also people who like other really big sweet beers. So I'm trying to put it's hard for me to compare this to like the base beer because I haven't had it in a really long time, and this makes me want to get some of it. But to me, it kind of reminds me of if you took Backwoods Bastard but aged it in maple bourbon instead of bourbon barrels, and then added like some sugar to it, like because this is definitely sweeter than that is. But I don't know if it's from the barrels or if it's from the beer. I'm guessing it's from the beer because the Old Ale is probably a little sweeter than the Scotch Ale that is Backwoods Bastard. Yeah, I won't say this has like a ton of complexity. It hits all the right buttons that it's supposed to, but it doesn't have all this crazy like leather and that kind of stuff that you might find in like the best barrel aged Old Ales. But if you just want like a big, giant, somewhat sweet, boozy beer that's also really refined at the same time and really tasty, this is what I would go for. So, in my opinion, especially for the price, I don't even know what the hell I paid for this, but I think it was $4.50 maybe. Even if it was $5, I don't know. This was like $17 a 4-pack for a big, giant, barrel-aged, tasty beer. That is such a steal. I'm definitely going to, and I'm not the biggest proponent of barrel aging or aging stuff that's already been barrel aged, but I think this, if you give it a year or two, if the sweetness might drop off a little bit, and it'll be a little more well rounded. I think it's really good now, but I think it will be even better then. Like because their imperial stout turns into liquid chocolate, so I'm hoping something good happens with this. I never tried an older bottle of the original one, so I can't really compare it. It's definitely a buy. If it's available around you, get it now before it's gone. I know they made a bunch of it because they're so big now, but when enough people have it, they're going to go back for more, and it's going to be gone. So go out and get it. I think they're in California now, based on Don't Drink Beer's most recent podcast. So they're pretty much all across the country. So definitely go get some of this if you haven't had it. Even if you had the last one, go get it. Give it a try. You might like it, you might not, but I think it's highly underrated based on the reviews I saw, and I really like it. And I think it's good that they did something like this and put me back on the track of pulling me in to buy the next release. Because I was really starting to fade on those, but I'm glad I bought this and I'm going to buy more of it. So, but I think that's everything I got to say on this one. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to doing the next one. Thanks.